Before we start, I just have to apologize to the Berserk fandom because you guys have to be the most cocked fandom of any anime franchise out there. You guys did not deserve the massive shafts that came your way, man. Like, I genuinely feel bad for you. But as you might have already guessed from what I just said, well, and the thumbnail and the title pretty much detailing what this video is about, in today's video we are going to be taking a look at how far Guts would be able to make it in the world of Dragon Ball. So let's talk about Guts for a little bit before we start yapping on about his abilities. Guts has to be the saddest anime character ever, man. Like, this man did not need to suffer even half as much as he did. This dude just caught L after horrific L. I don't even want to joke about this. Like, he really got the worst possible treatment I have ever seen a main character receive. In light of that, I don't do this very often, but I feel it is actually very relevant here. I am actually placing a trigger warning here. I will be talking about Guts' past for a bit, and this does contain death, SA, and tons of other horrific events. So if you are very much not comfortable with that, please skip to the timestamp I am showing on the screen right now to carry over to the section where we start talking about Guts' actual abilities. For starters, Guts was born from the dead womb of his mother who gave birth to him after she was hanged. How is that for an ominous as hell start to your life? Then his adoptive mother, whom he adored to death, died from the plague when he was only 3 years old. Then, when he was only 9 years old, he got R-worded by one of the other men in the mercenary group he joined. To add insult to injury, it was revealed that the one who sold Guts to the man who R-worded him was the person closest to a father figure he knew. He sold the boy's chastity for a mere 3 silvers. A little later on, Guts and his fellow mercenaries are captured, but he meets a man who is willing to help him escape. Only for the man to use Guts' escape attempt as a distraction to escape by himself instead, resulting in Guts being recaptured and kept in a cold, damp cell for a long time. And then there was the time where Guts' lover was R-worded by his so-called best friend, and there are countless other horrific events that plague the life of Guts. But really, enough of this, because I am getting genuinely uncomfortable talking about all of this. Like, it's not really my thing to talk about negative things like this for a long time. I absolutely hate doing it. So let's move over to the part of the video where we cover Guts' actual abilities. Guts is the very image of a strong-willed and righteous main character, but in the context of this video he is just a normal human, but he is one hell of a tough normal human. The obvious main trait that Guts has is that he is a master of the art of swordsmanship. He is capable of turning even the slightest event during a fight into his own advantage through his versatile fighting style. He is also not above using quote-unquote dirty tactics such as using women and children and whatever as distractions or shields during a battle. The best way I can probably describe his fighting style is by calling it pragmatic. He utilizes everything up to its highest potential if he gets his hands on it. As some of you already know, Guts has been swinging around swords taller than himself since the age of 9. This has resulted in Guts obtaining a massive frame and physical power far above that of an average man. He is so strong that he can even go toe-to-toe with several apostles in hand-to-hand combat, a feat that is not easily mirrored by any means. But aside from his strength and endurance, Guts also has a will that will never yield to anyone. Even if it means he has to rip off his own arms, poke out his own eyes, Guts will do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. But Guts is also very lucky, which sounds really weird considering his backstory we just talked about if you actually listen to that, but hear me out. Guts has dodged a certain death so many times in his life that it can be considered a genuine special power of sorts. To explain this, Guts once got branded with a mark of sacrifice during the eclipse, resulting in him being ripped away from the purely physical world. Guts basically resides in the interstice, or interstice, I can't remember how you pronounce it, but what it effectively means is that he is only half residing in the physical world and the other half of him resides in the spiritual world, so to say. Due to this, the laws of causality do not affect him as much as it would affect others who reside purely in the physical plane. This could be a possible cause of some of the insanely lucky dodges of death he has encountered after the events of the eclipse. But the mark is also a radar of sorts. It allows him to sense the approach of certain astral beings such as demons, spirits, apostles and other evil creatures, giving him an early heads up that a fight is nearing. But what really makes Guts a tough and formidable fighter is his legendary equipment. There are 3 pieces of equipment I really want to talk about. I mean, he has more than 3 obviously, but the others are pretty irrelevant, so I will cover those briefly after these main 3 items. So let's address the elephant in the room first. What is up with that giant ass sword? Guts' sword, the Dragon Slayer, is a massive broadsword made out of the ultimate steel. It is capable of cleaving through humans and demons with great ease, but it also serves as a very capable shield if needed due to the strength of the materials used to craft it. Throughout his journey, Guts also tempers the sword with the matters of the thousands of inhuman entities he has slain with the Dragon Slayer. This in turn enables the sword to also cut astral entities instead of purely physical ones. But Guts' single strongest piece of equipment has to be his Berserker armor. What this armor does is it overrides the natural limits on Guts' human body, allowing him to exert moves beyond normal human capability. But this is also a massive double-edged sword. For starters, the art the armor emits, combined with Guts' own inner darkness, can cause him to completely lose control and render him unable to distinguish friend from foe, which, as you can imagine, can be a tad bit detrimental in an important fight, right? It's pretty necessary to know who your friends are. And then there is the fact that the armor suppresses the feeling of pain, which sounds really nice initially until you realize he won't feel a thing if his guts have been pulled out or sliced open, pun intended. So the armor is incredibly strong, there's no real doubt about that, but it also does come with some serious drawbacks Guts has to deal with and factor in when he goes into combat. And the third item I really wanted to highlight is his cannon arm. For context, Guts' left arm is mechanical and has a built-in cannon which he can use to blast his enemies away. This serves as a lethal hidden weapon or secret weapon that will get enemies that get a bit too cocky and think Guts has been defeated. There have been multiple occasions where this has actually resulted in Guts turning things around and winning the fight. And aside from these weapons, as I said before, he also has a rapid-fire crossbow, several throwing knives and multiple types of miniature bombs which he frequently uses in combat. I just thought they were less important than the other 3 I mentioned in more detail. But this does bring us to the bread and butter of this video. How far do I think Guts will get in Dragon Ball? The short and honest answer is not very far. Guts is an incredibly strong and good fighter in his own right, but he lacks the actual abilities to counteract pretty much anyone in Dragon Ball. If you just take a quick glance at what Dragon Ball has to offer, Episode 1 introduces Kid Goku. I wholeheartedly believe that Guts would be able to take him on. There will probably be a lot of people who call bullshit on this, but I honestly think it's perfectly possible. But then you move on to guys like Ninja Murasaki, who I think Guts can beat, and General Blue, who I also think Guts can beat. Even Mercenary Tao is not a surefire loss for Guts. This fight could honestly go both ways, but once you enter the territory of guys like Demon King Piccolo and cities getting vaporized off of the face of the earth, Guts simply faces a wall he cannot surmount. Guts is very well written in terms of strength because he is an example of a semi-realistically, we do have fantasy elements of course, but strong human fighter. Dragon Ball is just outlandishly more powerful than pretty much any other anime out there, and there are very few verses that can just breeze through Dragon Ball with little to no effort. Guts stopping at Demon King Piccolo is a massive achievement if you ask me. For a normal human to be able to get that far, very impressive. And of course I recognize he might not get past Tao, but taking his luck and perseverance into account, it would not surprise me if he found a way to victory in that fight. Guts is such a skilled and pragmatic fighter that he can turn a very unfavorable situation around with very little to work with. And in light of these qualities, I will place Guts at the Demon King Piccolo saga where he joins a cast of other great fighters. But what do you guys think about this? Do you think I underestimated Guts or did I maybe overestimate him? Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching today's video. As per usual, like I do every video, I truly do appreciate every single viewer that takes the time out of their day to watch my content. We're very close to 7k subscribers, a milestone I never even thought was possible for me. But yeah, it just makes me very happy to know that even a handful of people just enjoy the content I produce. And in light of that, if you would like to see more of my content in the future, please do consider clicking the subscribe button and turning on all notifications for my channel so you never miss another video. And I would also really appreciate it if you would consider liking and leaving a comment on some other videos and just basically enjoy yourself watching my content. It's a weird thing to ask out of you, but you know, shameless self-promotion, let's go. And with that, there is really only one thing left to say. Work hard, study well, and eat and sleep plenty, and I will see you all again in the next video. Peace out.